Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to throw down in the court of law? It's time for the trial, and as you know, a professor in the magical university has been murdered in cold blood. There are many of extenuating circumstances around it, but our new friend Wallace has been accused of the crime. Did he do it? Well, since we're defending him, we hope not. Either James, either Catone, moderator Catone, Matthew, AQ, Solaris, full house today. Time to do the final case while watching me do this one. Good luck to the both of us. I'll need it. There's a pretty lady on the thumbnail. The reason why we're all here, in more ways than one. And the old joke about necromancers raising the murder victims to testify in court. Oldie but goodie. Let's get into it. Time for the trial. Just take deep breaths and relax. Hi, Tyrion. Celeste? Don't sneak up on me like that. Why are you so nervous? It's not as if this is your first time defending someone. I can't help it. There's something about this building that just fills me with anxiety. Well, that's not good if you plan to stay as a defense attorney. Yeah. It's too bad Ruby couldn't make it. I'd say that should calm your nerves down for Wallace's sake, but there are so many people here. And they're all staring at me. Their eyes are prying into me like a pack of flesh-eating maggots. Gross. Don't worry, Wallace. Our investigation revealed a lot of weaknesses in the prosecution's case. We have a strong case for your acquittal. Okay. See? You can be confident when you want to be. It's strange. Something is calming about Wallace's anxiety. It's like he just absorbs the tension out of you and into himself. Like the life force of necromancy. Oh boy. Back in. Court is now in session for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready. Very well. Let's begin the proceedings. Prosecutor Steelman, could you please list the charges? The defendant is a student at the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. Mr. Nightgrave is charged with first-degree murder, negligent misuse of the arcane arts, and illegal practice of advanced necromancy.
Necromancy? You mean to tell me that the defendant is a necromancer?
I can't believe it! A necromancer in this day and age! How could the kingdom let this happen? You asked me to voice a peanut gallery, and my mind just fires on cylinders here. Your Honor, I would like to remind the court that they should view my client objectively.
Of course, but one can easily see it from the list of charges. Necromancy plays a large role in the charges.
Indeed. The crime occurred within the academy this morning. The victim is Catherine Bellwether, a professor at the school. May I direct you to the thumbnail of this stream? Hold on a second. Let me turn my camera over here. Better? Although there were no witnesses, traces of necromancy were detected on the body. Furthermore, the autopsy report shows that the body has no physical wounds.
I see.
Necromancy is the only type of magic that can harm an individual without physically wounding them. Additionally, the alchemist report shows no signs of poison or disease. Man, that whole point of necromancy being to seal wounds is hanging over this entire thing, And I'm just wondering, when am I going to lay that down? And when is the next twist going to turn it around? Just like... The whole point that necromancy can heal is just shaking at the chain link fence going, "Let me in! Let me in!" Therefore, one can only conclude that a necromancer had committed the crime. As many of you know, necromancy is held under high scrutiny by the Crown. Aside from the defendant, no other students were permitted to learn advanced necrotic magic. As such, the defendant was the only mage in that building capable of committing the murder.
I see. That is certainly compelling evidence.
To properly present our case, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orem White to the stand. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
It started when the City Watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Someone was attacked. The whole building was put on lockdown. We set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. When we finally got into the building, the prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancy on it. There were no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. With those two pieces of evidence, we concluded that it could only be the necromancer kid that did it.
The Inquisition's testimony is just as you expected. You've already found and identified the holes in Steelman's case. All you have to do is find that hole in the commander's testimony.
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
Alright, where's the weak point in this? Starting with the city got a call from the Imperial Academy, someone was attacked, the whole building was put in lockdown. That's fine. Set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. We finally got to the building. The prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancer. There were no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. Let's go ahead and press it, see what more information we can find about this one. How carefully was the body checked? Perhaps the prosecution missed something. The coroner couldn't find even the smallest cut, bruise, or fracture on the body. Furthermore, the alchemist's report shows no signs of poison or disease. The coroner was actually astounded at how unscathed the body was. I think that's a little wink and a nod to Tyrion and ourselves. That makes sense. If someone had used mend wounds on the body, it would have healed even the most minor of injuries. Question is, how do you prove that? The game is really hitting us with all of the narrator assist there, aren't they? Let's see here. So, the entire body was clean. Well, what about the blood stain under the body? Commander White, it appears that you've neglected to mention one key detail of the crime scene.
Yeah? What's that?
During your testimony, you said that the entire body was clean. I will admit that there weren't any wounds on the body. However, the body was certainly not clean. ... At the scene of the crime, there was a large pool of blood located where the body was. This blood came from the victim's body, and it was definitely not clean like the commander testified.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I fail to see the significance of this.
I'd like to remind the court of the prosecution's case against my client. They are accusing him of murdering the victim using necrotic blight, a spell which would not have physically wounded the victim. So why was there any blood at all? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fact still stands. There were no wounds on the body, nor were there any reports of poison or disease on the autopsy. There are clearly magical elements in this case. But Catherine Bellwether was bleeding profusely at some point. How else would there be a bloodstain on the body? Do you have an explanation for that, Miss Steelwind? No. I'll admit that the prosecution doesn't have an explanation for that. And while I do find the circumstances questionable, all other evidence clearly points to the defendant. Which spell would leave a trace of necromancy? If the victim wasn't killed with necromancy, why was there a trace of it on the body? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to present a spell that could have left a trace of necromancy on the body. Let's see. Mend wounds, baby! Mend wounds? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a healing spell? That's correct, Your Honor. Spells from the School of Necromancy can control the forces of death and life. Mend Wounds is, in fact, a necromancy spell. Well, we certainly got that out of the way. Now let's see how the plot thickens around it. Really now? I wasn't aware of this. Tyrion, leave that desk alone. You're gonna collapse the poor thing. Now, I'd like the court to consider the following. What would happen if Bellwether was wounded, and someone attempted to heal her using Mend Wounds? All of her wounds would disappear from her body. I see.
Objection!
Here it comes. Your shoes about to drop. Do you honestly think I'm that incompetent, Mr. Cuthbert? Frankly, I'm a little insulted. Nani? The Inquisition is well aware of what happens when a mage attempts to save a victim using Mend Wounds. The healers that arrived at the scene already confirmed that the victim was long dead. None of them attempted to heal her. Well, what if someone tried to heal her and didn't report it? Please, none of the healers would have anything to gain by doing so. Yeah? Well, what if they weren't being good Samaritans? What if they were doing it to hide things? In fact, as a necromancer, the defendant could have easily carried out the described scenario. He could have cast Mend Wounds on the victim after murdering her to confound the investigation. At the end of the day, the burden of the proof is on you. But if you could just find out who healed the body, this case is yours. And whoever this healer is, Valentina definitely knows her. Your Honor, I will admit that I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, I do believe that we can bring it to light. Boom! What's that, 3 now? 3 or 4 desk slams? We're gonna have to start a counter. There may have been 2 people that witnessed someone cast magic on the body. Valentina and Valerie Enos, the sisters who discovered the body. And that poor Arcane, or maybe that poor spot on the floor she keeps on hitting. This is nonsense. We've already questioned those 2 witnesses extensively. If they had witnessed something like that, it would have come up in their testimony. If that's true, then you have nothing to lose by hearing their testimonies. Very well. If you're so confident, let's hear the witness's testimony. It seems the prosecution has no objections. However, if this line of questioning leads nowhere, I will see no reason to further prolong this trial. Do you understand, Mr. Cuthbert? Of course, Your Honor. Oh crap, it's that guy from before! Oh crap, it's that guy from before! Cool as a cucumber, Valentina Ionis. Absolutely perfect. You would be amazing to play chess against. Or poker, probably. Chess doesn't exactly require you having a poker face. Is he the necromancer's lawyer? She just got on the stand, and she's already stressed out. This could work in your favor. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name? Witness, there's no need to be so nervous. We merely want to hear about what you saw on the day of the murder. Right. He's just that guy over there, You mean Mr. Cuthbert? Did this man harass you, witness? Choto a freaking mate. Oui. He, super harassed me.
How shameful. I would expect a member of our justice system to behave more professionally.
Oh, shut up. Anyways, please state your name and occupation for the court, Ms. Ionis. Just calm down. He cannot prove anything. My name is Valentina Ionis. I am a member of the kitchen staff at the Wyvern Imperial Academy. As I recall, you were one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Apparently, the defense finds your involvement suspect. Oh, no! Rest assured, Ms. Ionis, in this courtroom, you will be protected from Mr. Cuthbert's, look someone directly in the eyes, harassment. You know what just occurred to me? The fact that people's emotions pop up during key moments in their mood, it really reminds me of the Dragon's Tear from Breath of Fire 2. Now, it's not 1-to-1, because in Breath of Fire 2, the protagonist, Ryu, has a Dragon's Tear that he wears as like a necklace, and it's a gem that changes color depending on the person he's talking to and what their opinion of him is. So if someone hates him, then that gem will be like soot black. But if someone likes him, it will brighten up. It'll turn like red and then orange and then yellow and then green, blue, light blue. And if someone just thinks he's the greatest person in the world, it just flashes a brilliant rainbow. Which, it is interesting because if you pay attention to it, you can really suss out an opponent's, an NPC's personality. Because, if someone is being super friendly with you, but the Dragon's Tear is like a dark orange, then you know that there might be something more to that character. So the fact that these multicolored indicators keep popping up, it really reminds me of in Breath of Fire 2, whenever you do something nice for somebody, and you get that little chime that indicates that they respect Ryu more, or when a villain goes mask off, and they reveal their insidious plans, and you get the chime of the Dragon's Tear growing darker and darker. It's such a niche thing, but the fact that it just keeps on popping up, it really reminds me of it. It's such a small thing, but it's stuck with me for so long. Anywho, the Valentina and Arya are double-teaming Tyrion's credibility ad hominem, might I add. Now, please testify to the court on what happened that day. We. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was, and suddenly saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding had stopped, she'd already lost too much blood.
By the time her bleeding had stopped, huh? Almost as if the sister had done something to stop the bleeding. If your theory is true, that means she just lied in her testimony. She's definitely holding something back. She definitely saw more than she's letting on. You just need to prove that, somehow.
Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination.
Alright, you're walking with your sister in the West Wing when you notice something in a nearby classroom. Looked over to see what it was. That's when you saw Ms. Bellwether bleeding on the ground. Sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood.
What does she do exactly?
Ms. Eunice, how exactly did your sister try to help Ms. Bellwether?
What? I slipped up. My sister just first aid to try to stop the bleeding.
I see. Could you please add that detail to your testimony?
Oui, sure. She used first aid and applied pressure to her wound to stop the bleeding.
Your sister knows how to use a first aid kit?
Oui, it was covered in our training when we first started working. With all the nobles around, I guess the headmaster wanted to make sure we were prepared.
She used first aid and applied a pressure to the wound to stop the bleeding. Alright. Let's see what we can present. So what we're trying to disprove, she used first aid and applied pressure to her wound to stop the bleeding. There's a pool of blood where Catherine Bellwether's body was. This is strange because she wouldn't have been wounded by a necrotic blight. Valentine has a magical trace of necromancy on her. Someone cast a necromancy spell on her within the last 48 hours. Let's see here. County's lockdown system. The body was discovered by Valentine and Valerie Eunice. According to the commander, Orm White, they were being hyperactive during questioning. So how can we cast doubt on the fact that she was using first aid? Which of these can do it? This doesn't exactly disprove anything. Heals a spell can't restore missing limbs. Going to work can revive someone who's already died. Academy lockdown system. Imperial Academy map. Foul classroom smell. I don't think that does anything. Arcane constructs. Their suit of armor and animated artificery. They can carry out simple tasks in order to. Every line, that doesn't seem to do much. Let's see. Bellwether's autopsy. Died at 2:01 p.m. Body showed no signs of cuts or bruising. The alchemist's report has verified that the death was not caused by poison or disease. Body shows trace of necromancy and illusion magic. Cause of death is not apparent, but likely caused by necromancy magic. So yeah, if the question is, why would she use first aid? Yeah, if she were to cause first aid, let me see here. Prestidigitation. What is the spell here? Necrotic blight pulls all of the life energy from the target, resulting in an instant death. The spell does not wound the target, nor does it leave any physical evidence, but it leaves a magical trace. So my question is, what we need to know is, why
would she use first aid if there should be no evidence of like wounds on the body? But I think I might be jumping to. I might be jumping too far. Well. Objection. Nope. Music's still going on. Okay, she applied first aid and applied pressure to her wound to stop the bleeding. Maybe it's the autopsy report. It was not caused by poison or disease. No signs of cuts or bruising. Objection! Okay, so so I had it right that the contradiction was that there should be that they should not have been using first aid because, you know, if you see someone face down on the floor and if they had not been cut or bruised, and then why would you pull out the first aid? You'd probably just run over there and say, "Hey, you okay?" But I just presented the wrong evidence. Witness, what is the meaning of this? What? What are you looking at me like that? Maybe I can elaborate, Ms. Eunice. That's interesting. Tyrion was the one who shouted objection, and Arya was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, he gives the objection, and Arya immediately knows why that was a mistake, so she just cuts him off right there. That seems to be kind of an oddity in the scripting and a natural court proceeding, but at the same time, I just think it's funny that Arya saw that Tyrion caught on to it, and she's like, "God damn it! You were present in the gallery earlier, weren't you?" "None. I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Steelwind told me to wait, sir." "Well, I suppose I should consider myself lucky." 5. You see, Miss Eunice, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it. Yeah? So? So, please explain to the court, Ms. Eunice, how did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body? What? Oh no, I stood up. But I saw the wounds on her. What happened? There's clearly something amiss here. But I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implication of this. Are you accusing the witness of committing perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? When someone lies, they stay as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thoughts, Valentina said that she was sure she saw a wound on Bellwether. And she also mentioned that Valerie was the one that tried to save the professor. If she didn't try to save Bellwether with first aid, could she have used magic instead? Her sister could be the mage that you're looking for. The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie Eunice did try to save the victim's life by addressing her wounds, but she didn't use first aid. She used magic. No, you found this out? Objection! I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but your theory is completely flawed. How so, Miss Steelwind? Well, it's quite simple. We've already verified that neither of the sisters are mages. What? Wait, how can you be so sure? During the investigation, we had both the Eunice sisters attuned to a spell compendium. It's standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing the witnesses. Then that means... That's correct. Neither of the Innes sisters could attune to a compendium. She's using ventriloquism to throw me off my game. Very intimidating. An audible T-pose. That's right. The Inquisition checked us both. Neither of us are mages. Ooh, that was close. Or maybe they checked you 2 times. You just stood in for your sister. Damn it! Were you wrong about Valerie being a mage then? No, that can't be right. Unfortunately, the Eye of Horus is not going to hold up in court. Think fast, Tyrion. Her thoughts said he found us out. That means you were on the right track. Valerie has to be the mage you're looking for. Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell compendium and avoid attuning to it? No. It just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure that I did the attunement correctly. There was no way a mage could avoid attuning to a compendium with them watching you. Right. Commander White may be negligent sometimes, but even he isn't that careless. Damn! Throwing that shade on the Commander White. The one uncanny thing about Commander White is that he just does not have that design that says Gumshoe XP. He's a little bit too fierce to have so much to catch so many strays, you know. Now, if you're done, I do believe you've exhausted all your options. Well, wait. I'm still not done cross-examining this witness. What could you possibly hope to glean from her testimony? Valentina should be stressed out enough to see more of her thoughts. But you can't exactly say that you're planning to read her mind. There's one key element of her testimony that the court is overlooking. I have a right as an attorney, I am an attorney, I'm not stalling, to complete my cross-examination. Technically, it's both of our cross-examination, because it is a cross-examination. We're crossing over. Get on with it! Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time. I might be compelled to agree with you. However, I'll also admit that some elements of the witness's testimony are quite peculiar. I will not say what. That is your job to surmise. You're the law people, after all. I will allow the defense to perform one more cross-examination. That was close. But know that this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you produce nothing substantial, I will pass my verdict. Of course, Your Honor. All right, it's all or nothing. If you can't find anything by reading her mind, this whole case is finished. Witness, please give your testimony once more. Okay. How long does he plan to keep me up here? Hit us with that Allegro. Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. We rushed over to her. I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. Now that you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. I can't go back on that now. I just need to play dumb. My sister tried to save her, but she didn't use any magic. Valerie, you're too kind-hearted for your own good. Neither of us is a mage. Both of us held that book the knight gave us. I've Cause caught off guards in the act us. She almost found us out. Neither of us is a mage. Both of us held that book the knights gave us. You were caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. It's a good thing that we're twins, or else that trick wouldn't have worked. What are we going to do? They have pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage. Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. I'm just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition. And more importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? My guess, they waited for like a split second when they weren't being watched, and then they swapped books, and then they also swapped positions. Or at least they just swapped, well, yeah. They swapped books and positions. You definitely is looking. Let's see. Interpret? Is that like using a, is that like presenting? What happens when they do this? Oh no! Didn't mean, Alright, so that is a stand-in for presenting evidence. Gotcha. Don't know if you saw any wounds or not, but you said it all. Try to save her, you can understand. I was the mage. Both of us held the books the knights gave us. This is the one I want to press. They almost found them out. Can I assume that this book was an unattuned spell compendium? Yes. The Inquisition has a myriad of them. It's standard procedure to have witnesses attuned to them. But doesn't the kingdom require that mages register? Why don't you just cross-reference those records with the witnesses' names? For whatever reason, many mages among the common folk dislike the concept of registering. As a result, many of them choose to hide their powers illegally. Oh dear. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. It's a good thing that they're twins. Did you pull some kind of trick to deceive the Inquisition while attuning, Ms. Enos? Of course not. We know that lying to the Inquisition would get us in trouble. Five eyes of us take a risk like that. Living in as an unregistered mage is a serious crime. If Valerie was a mage, then you would have been charged with fraud right then and there. But we already proved that neither of us are mages. The eye seems to differ. Think through this isn't a normal cross-examination. You need to find the thought that gives you a thread to pull on. You need to find the thought that implies how the twins tricked the commander. Find the thought that holds the clue and interpret it to proceed. Alright. Ms. Enos, your thoughts betray you. That? You found the thought. They must have done something. But what? It must have happened when Commander White was interrogating them. Orm was the one who collected their statements. Did you notice anything off about their behavior? From what he said, they had a few quirks, but nothing too suspicious. Quirks? He told me that they were running and spinning around him during the questioning. They were running and spinning, so they easily could have swapped books to interrupt the attunement. Alright. What does that mean? I have no idea. Perhaps they were still on edge after finding their co-worker murdered. Running and spinning. Her thoughts also said, it's a good thing that we're twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? This means their so-called trick wouldn't have worked if they weren't twins. Let's see. Valentina switched places with Valerie. Of course, they switched places. Valentina attuned to the first spell compendium. Then she pretended to be Valerie to attune to the second one. Commander White couldn't tell the difference between them. Ms. Enos, there's something I want to confirm. During the investigation, both you and Valerie attuned to a spell compendium. Am I correct?
Yes. That night watched us do it.
That is a screenshot that should not be taken out of context. And how did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compendiums at the same time? Or did you attune one after another?
What? No way. Does he know what he did?
I fail to see how that makes any difference, Mr. Cuthbert.
Yes, I agree. The spell compendiums would work regardless of what order they went in.
You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie Enos are identical twins, which means that their physical appearances are nearly identical to each other. If Commander White didn't have them attuned at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with each other?
Objection!
This is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Orem wouldn't fail at such a basic task. Really, Prosecutor Steelwind? Do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this? Oh dear. Really going for that attack on character.
Wait a minute. This is crazy. We didn't trick the Inquisition. My sister and I are not mages.
Then prove it, Ms. Enos. Bring in your sister, and we'll have you attune 2 spell compendiums at the same time. No.
Wait.
Order in the court! It's clear that we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Bailiff, escort Valerie Enos to the stand and bring 2 unattuned spell compendiums.
They've both had their hands on those compendiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can fake it in front of this many people. Alright, it's the moment of truth. You can only hope that your theory is correct. No.
Did he seriously? What is it, Prosecutor Steelwind? What do you see? What do your Steelwind eyes see?
What I see is Commander White seeking new employment in the near future. It appears the defense was correct. Valentina Enos isn't a mage, but Valerie Enos is.
Oh dear! That's some whacked out stuff, baby.
Who let this bird in here? What's more, Valerie Enos' compendium contains the Mend Wounds spell, which makes the defense's theory entirely plausible.
Please, just allow me to explain.
We should allow you to explain what exactly. You're an unregistered mage. And you and your sister have made fools out of all of us with your perjury. And then Tyrion is like, except me.
How could you know what it is like, Lady Steelwind?
Explain.
Did you think we didn't notice your name? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. Whatever. This whole situation has gone out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause this much trouble. And I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please, let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell you what really happened that day.
Very well. But understand that there will be repercussions for your actions, witness.
I know. My sister and I were walking the hallway from the kitchen to the foyer. Then I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in a nearby classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast mend wounds on her to close her wounds. But it was too late. I closed the hole in her stomach, but she was already dead.
There was a hole in her stomach.
Your Honor, as you can clearly see from the witness's testimony, the trace of necromancy was left by the witness, not my client. What's more, it's clear that there was a physical wound on the body.
I see. Well,
his words trail off. He clearly doesn't want to pass a verdict when there's no clear culprit. But he has no choice. The case against Wallace is predicated on Bellwether being killed by necromancy. With Valerie's testimony, the prosecution doesn't have a shred of evidence implicating him.
very well. The court sees no reason to prolong this trial. With these new developments, the court has no choice but to find Wallace Nightgrave not... Oh, why is there a dash in the script?
Objection!
Not the Vine Booms! I believe the court is ignoring one key detail of the witness's testimony. And what would that be, Ms. Steelwind? Let's re-examine the witness's testimony. Use a communication device. She was bleeding, so she cast mend wounds. But it was too late. He closed the hole, but she was already dead. The communication device that Valentina Enos used logs the time of the day during the use. From this log, we know that Valentina used this device at 3:04 p.m.
Oh dear.
3:04 p.m.? But the murder happened at 2:01. There's a whole hour. This was an hour after the time of death. Where are you going with this? Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found, Jan Hughes. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallways before the body was found. I was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase. There were shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20 or 30 minutes before the twins found the body. Right. Voicing Jan just brings back the yawning. Maybe that's how you pronounce his name. The J is silent, and it's a long A. Jan Hughes. But that's impossible, because he's supposed to be a janitor. 20 to 30 minutes before the body was found. Do you see the discrepancy, Mr. Cuthbert? Wait. That can't be right. Bellwether died more than an hour before the body was found? So, how did Jan see her half an hour after her death? I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, how could one make a dead body move and walk around? By the way, I'm wondering, do I have the compendium? Let's see. So I guess I don't have the compendiums. Oh wait, nope. I have Wallace's spell compendium. But interesting. I guess
Valerie's compendium is not been edited onto the court records. How could one make a dead body move and walk around? No, you can't mean... There was more than one piece of evidence that pointed to a necromancer committing the crimes. The defendant murdered the victim and used necromancy to animate her corpse. Damn. An undead? Created within the Imperial Academy? How reprehensible! That's ridiculous! She had a hole in her stomach when the twins found her. Jan Hughes would have noticed that. Animate corpse stops the flow of blood, so she wouldn't have tracked blood anywhere. The defendant is also proficient with illusion magic. He could have easily used an illusion spell to hide the undead Bellwether's wounds. But another party could have easily used illusion magic to disguise themselves as the victim. If that were true, how did they move the body to the classroom? Miss Steelman, if your theory is true, it would mean that the murder occurred elsewhere. Would the Inquisition happen to know where? Regrettably, we do not. Then the prosecution's case against my client is still faulty. You can't convict my client without more evidence. I agree with Mr. Cuthbert. With these new developments, the court sees it fit to suspend the trial for the time being. It will give law enforcement time to investigate these unknowns. Court proceedings for this case will resume tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Bow. Ed, are you feeling okay? A body is seen moving around an hour after death. It clearly wasn't Bellwether, or at least she wasn't alive when this happened. So what was it? Tyrion? There's illusion magic involved. There has to be. But which spell was it? Could it have been illusory disguise? Tyrion! Well, what? You've been quiet since the trial ended. You were making me worried. Sorry, I was just thinking about what Steelwind said. You mean about her theory? It's a little creepy when you think about it. Do you really think someone turned the professor into an undead? I don't think so. The prosecution's case is hinged on one clear fact. That Wallace was the only high-level necromancer nearby. We have to assume that he's the only person capable of using that type of magic. But then how was she walking around? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's a given that Wallace didn't touch the body, so we can discount the use of high-level necromancy. No matter what, someone used an illusion. But aren't there spells that can create freestanding illusions, not just disguises? I honestly don't know. We need to talk to someone who knows about that type of magic. Someone who knows about illusion magic, huh? Where are you? Someone who knows about illusion magic, you say? Evocation. Don't know if we've ever seen her use any evocation. Ah! Well, look at who has illusion magic. Fascinating. Wait, didn't Eris say that she was studying illusion magic? She might be able to tell us if something like that is possible. Is that really a good idea? Explain. What if she's the one who created the illusion? What? Then we have her explain herself. You're detecting fear from her again. Celeste, are you scared
scared of Eris?
What? No. I saw it this morning too. You always get really scared when she's around. Oh. I thought I was doing a better job of hiding it. Sorry. It's not based on anything real, but for years I've been working as a mercenary. When you do that kind of work, you build up an instinct to danger. You kind of have to if you want to stay alive. Sorry, I never knew. Tyrion, I fought literal monsters and barely escaped with my life. But when I'm near Eris, none of those creatures come even close. I get this feeling. It's like I'm in front of a predator that I couldn't ever hope to defeat. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she's close by.
Really? But she doesn't seem that dangerous.
I know. I think I'm just anxious or something. I should know better than anyone to not judge people by their appearance. Sorry. Forget I said anything. If you think we should talk to her, then we should do that. You're not one to discount Celeste's instincts. She's always been reliable, and if Eris is making her scared, that must mean something. But if Eris really is that dangerous, then that's all the more reason to talk to her. But aside from that, there's also something else that the prosecutor said. Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found. He, along with another witness...
Who's this other witness?
Along with another witness, that means that there was another witness that saw Bellwether walking around. Right. Jan probably isn't the most reliable witness. So, talking to that other person might help us figure out what happened. But do you think Steelwind will tell us who that witness was?
At this point, you won't lose anything by trying.
Eris is named after a goddess of discord, and her surname literally translates to Bad Mother. You'd be wary too. In any case, it looks like you have your work cut out for you. So, where should you start first? Da-dum-ba-dum-bum. Hit me with that Ace Attorney intermission music. Tyrion? What are we doing here? I'm not sure. For some reason, you felt drawn to this place. Wait, is that Eris? Celeste points further into the cemetery. There, you see Eris standing in front of a gravestone. She's placing flowers on it and appears to be chanting a short prayer. Well, we found her. We should probably talk to her later. It would be rude to disturb her now. As you're about to leave, Eris suddenly turns to face you. She's far away, but you can see her beckoning you over. Evil. Take a couple steps back. I'm gonna hold out the peak. We're gonna hold the peak out. The peak mouse too. Oh, hello there. Were you looking for me? Sorry, we were looking for you, but we understand if you'd rather talk later. No, I was just finishing up here. Did you have something you wanted to talk to me about? Well, we wanted to ask you some questions about the case. Oh? That was my first time watching a court trial. You were truly remarkable. Thank you. Were you in the gallery? I've always enjoyed watching physical battles in the theater. But I see now that battles of wits can be just as entertaining to watch. Entertaining? Not a red flag. Yeah, I know what you mean. You see the odds are stacked against him, But then he suddenly pulls out this crazy deduction and steers the trial in his favor. I've never really thought about it like that. But I'm sure it's far more entertaining to be the one making the deductions.
Is she staring directly at me? She wants to reach. She wants to reach right through the screen, doesn't she? I'm not really sure what you mean. I practice law so that I can help those persecuted by the justice system. I don't really do it to entertain myself. But is that really true? Is she about to jump scare me? She about to zoom in the camera on herself and make a creepypasta face? Oh my! I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Kirby, help! Hold on a second, I need to rewind and see what she was saying before she reset reality. She was saying I have a feeling that she had a mask off moment there. Okay, I don't do this to entertain myself, but is that really true? Okay. I need to rewind a little bit. I want to see what she said with her scary face. Unless she said the exact same thing, and it was just stuff. Oh. So she said, "Don't you find the experience even the least bit entertaining?" Oh my god! I just watched it back, and instead of saying Tyrion's name, it actually used my name. She looked into my computer and she used the name of my profile. Because if you go back, it said, "Don't you find the experience even the least bit entertaining, Ron?" And Ron is the name of the profile that I use on my computer. Okay. I thought I was making these wide-reaching stretches by making the Monica comparison, but that's exactly what's going on. She's jump scaring me and she's reading my Windows information. You love her classic VHS video glitches? She doesn't have a mask on ever. Look at her. She's not even mildly non-threatening. She'd kill you in a cold blood and wouldn't even bat an eye. Exactly. Alright. We have new information. I have no idea what we're gonna do with this information. But, yeah, she's looking directly at me. Hi, Eris. I really wouldn't put it that way. You're far too modest. You save people from the clutches of death. To your clients, you might as well be a knight in shining armor. You think they'd wait until at least the third case to be pulling this sort of meta-chicanery? Earlier you said that you were studying illusion magic. I am. Did you want to ask me about the prosecution's theory?
Yes, actually. How did you know? It was easy to guess after seeing you in the courthouse. Anyways, disguising an undead with an illusion is definitely possible. And as Lady Steelwind said, illusory disguise would be the best spell to use for that. What if someone created a freestanding illusion? A freestanding illusion? Yes, we know that Wallace didn't animate and disguise the professor's corpse. So, what if the illusion wasn't disguising anything? Maybe someone created a freestanding illusion of Bellwether walking around? Or something like that. Would probably use Major Illusion. Creates a three-dimensional illusion. The illusion can take the form of any object or creature that can be contained within a 10-foot cube. While concentrating, the caster can animate and move the image to a different location within range. The illusion is purely physical and can't be physically touched. Didn't the Bellwether that was walking around knock over a vase? Unless there were just multiple illusions or just multiple ways things could happen. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. What is it? I don't think Major Illusion is what we're looking for. Do you remember what Jan said? Jeez, I'm just figuring things out before they're said. There's plenty of mess in the hallways, Bellwether walking over the vase, there's dirt everywhere. If the Bellwether that Jan saw was a Major Illusion, then she couldn't have knocked over that vase. Illusions created by that spell don't have any mass. I see. How perceptive of you. Aren't there any other illusion spells that do have mass? No. Illusions can only recreate visual and auditory sensations. Lifelong DM, is this true? But isn't there a single illusion spell but there isn't a single illusion spell that someone can touch? So that means that someone disguised something to make it look like Bellwether. One of these guys right here. So that is true. Not a single illusion actually has any mass. Most illusion spells fall apart under investigation. I see. Not that I doubted it, I just wanted to know more. Why the look of suspicion, Celeste? Sorry, I wasn't... Calm down. I'm only joking. Was Celeste unknowingly affected with illusion magic? And then someone used her to throw people off the trail? Once again, I'm thinking ahead. I don't blame you for considering every possibility. In fact, I'm flattered you think I'm capable of pulling off such an elaborate ruse. Anyways, this does tell us one important thing. What's that? The Bellwether that Jan saw had a physical mass to it. It wasn't a freestanding illusion. It was someone or something disguised as Bellwether. So, that's my two working theories. Either it was one of those automatons, what they're called again, arcane constructs, or someone had cast it on Celeste unknowingly. Because either that was Celeste and her characteristic fear of Eris, or maybe she's starting to put two and two together. But, again, I'm getting way far ahead of myself. Jan's statement. 30 minutes before the Enos twins found the body, Bellwether walked past Jan in the West Wing hallway. He was in her path, so she shoved him out of her way. After that, she knocked over a vase and shattered it. Even though Jan didn't say anything to her, she yelled at him to be quiet. After this interaction, she walked into Lecture Hall 2B.
The bellwether witnessed by Jan Hughes must have been disguised with an illusion. In addition to that, whoever he saw that day was physically there. Okay. Let me see more about these constructs. Arcane constructs are suits of armor that are animated using artificery. They can carry out simple tasks in order to. The ones in the Imperial Academy speak using the voice of Catherine Bellwether. These voice lines can only be changed or adjusted by the Academy Headmaster. Every command given to the construct is stored in its command log. However, this command log must be cleared regularly. So here's the thing. Whoever was disguised had a mask, and it spoke with her voice. And would you look at that? An arcane construct can speak using the voice of Catherine Bellwether. So maybe the construct heard the sound of the vase shattering and just automatically responded to the loud noise by saying, "Be quiet." Maybe the constructs are programmed to seek out loud noises and just say, "Be quiet" at them without any rhyme or reason. But that's just a theory. It's quite a shame, isn't it? Eris looks pensively at the gravestone. The name on the gravestone says Emily Grant, and her lifetime appears to be awfully short. She must have only been 12 years old when she died. Sorry for interrupting you. Was she someone you knew? Not personally. I am actually here on Wallace's behalf. Wallace knew her? What was the name again? Emily Grant. And Wallace is, Nightgrave, okay? Wallace joined the Academy as part of a program run by Headmaster Redmond. At the time, the Headmaster was reaching out to mages among the common folk. He had started a program to admit these mages to the Academy without having to pay tuition. Both Emily and Wallace were among these mages. Wow, that must have been an amazing opportunity for them. The truth is, neither of them actually cared about learning magic. The real problem was that Emily had a terminal illness. She and Wallace were poor orphans, and they obviously didn't have the resources to treat it. But if they enrolled in the Academy would be obligated to give her medical treatment. The Imperial Academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom. They thought that curing her illness would be an easy task for the Academy's healers. But they were mistaken, I'm afraid. I'm sure you know this by now, but healing spells can only treat wounds. They can't cure illnesses. Is that true? Or is illness a really high-level thing? Or is this just something that Attorney of the Arcane is running away with and doing their own thing about? Emily's condition only got worse over the years, and eventually, she succumbed to her illness. Wallace was furious. He didn't understand why the kingdom was outlawing magic that could save lives. And that's why he decided to learn it himself. Yes, the headmaster was inspired by Wallace's resolve. He gave him access to the Academy's forbidden tomes of necromancy, and Wallace taught himself the spells that he knows today. So that's why. It was supposed to stay a secret between him and the headmaster. But I wasn't looking. I need to see what she said. Let me see here. She was about to say one thing, and then everything got glitched. So she keeps on changing her expression. So at first, she had this incredibly this mischievous look on her, this very sadistic look on her expression, as if she were saying. So what was the thing? It was supposed to stay a secret between him and the headmaster. So she was like, but I'm sure you know how that turned out. But now she's saying, but I'm sure you know how that turned out. I need to stop looking at chat when I'm speaking with Eris. She's the mask just keeps on slipping. Oh, I guess that, guess that's everything I can get from Eris. It's a grave for an individual that you don't know. You best leave it undisturbed. Let's see here. And that's Emily Grant. The shame she died so young. You briefly say a prayer to Bahamut. Let's detect magic.
Arcanum.
Nothing. There's no plot-relevant magic here. Okay. I guess we're moving. So we can either go to the foyer or the library. Let's go to the foyer first. Nothing to find at the foyer, so we're going to the library. Ah, it's you, Mr. Cuthbert. I really miss the typewriter sounds when you move to a place for the first time and there's new stuff to find there. Steelwind, what are you doing here? After what happened at the trial yesterday, I decided it would be best to start my investigation here. Right. Well, this was in the library for the entire morning, so it would make sense that she'd start a search here. Actually, since I have you here, have you seen Eris Ilmater anywhere? It's my understanding that you're both acquainted with each other. Eris? What do you want with her? It's not for anything serious, mind you. It's just that oaf of a commander lost her spell compendium. Now we need her to produce another one for our records. If you see her, please let her know that we'd like to speak to her. We saw her earlier in the cemetery nearby, but I have no idea where she is now. Ugh. Once again, I have to compensate for that idiot's mistakes. Anyways, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case. Very well. I suppose I still need to honor our deal from earlier. Have you any luck finding the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, I haven't. From the witnesses' testimonies, we have a rough idea of the route Bellwether took, but none of the rooms we've checked have any signs of a struggle. Why are you so sure that a struggle happened? I'm mainly basing that off the Eonis' sister's testimonies. Valerie, in particular, noticed that the bleeding came from a wound in her stomach. Regrettably, the body's wounds were mended, so we can't determine what kind of weapon the murderer used. During the trial, you mentioned that another witness saw Bellwether walking around yesterday. Would you be willing to tell us who that person is? I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that. You're caught a little off guard. You've been pretty transparent with your investigation so far. What's changed? I have no obligation to justify myself to you, nor do I have an obligation to help the opposition. Didn't we have a deal? Hiding information doesn't exactly seem fair to us. I believe I've given you plenty of information already. So regardless of what I said before, the answer is still no. Her family is dangerous. The Eye of Horus catches a stray thought from her. Her family is dangerous? What does that mean? Is there something about this witness's family that you're worried about? Duh! No. This could be a feint. I'm sorry, but you'll have to try harder than that if you want to bluff me. She referred to the witness as her. Furthermore, she said that her family is dangerous. Why would she go to such lengths to hide the witness's identity? And why do I hear a faint
in the distance. In any case, it looks like she's not willing to share any more at the moment. Maybe you should try looking somewhere else. Library is full of books for educational purposes. Too bad they don't have any fictional books. We were looking for a novel. Was hoping they have some mystery novels. You like them? Of course! Why do you think I love being a mercenary? Never really been a fan of the mystery genre. You best believe in the mystery genre, Mr. Cuthbert. You're in one. What? But your whole career is about solving mysteries. It's exhausting. When I read a novel, I want to read about simple fantasy stories and classic heroes. I guess that makes sense. What about you, Steelwind? I don't really have time for such things. Hey, Celeste. Do you think this is a ladder or a step ladder? It's a holy text from the Church of Bahamut. I read some of these with Eris earlier. I have a meaning to ask. Do you guys worship dragons in Wyverngard? I've never really been the religious type, but I've seen some devout worshippers in the capital. It's the most prominent religion here. The Scaled Lord Rathalion is said to be the source of all arcane magic. It's no wonder they use such a large part of our culture. A globe of the world. Amazing how other nations are aside from Wyverngard. She's been to most of those places. I should go with her. Isn't traveling through the border heavily restricted? Oh, don't worry, I won't report you. I can't exactly blame you for wanting to leave.
Arcanum.
You know, you have to try every single time. Okay. The locker room. James, you're dealing with a lightning storm? Well, here's hoping. Ganbate, power lines! You spend some time wandering through the academy when you overhear a conversation from a nearby room. From what I understand, Miss Steelwind has already moved the investigation elsewhere. How long must I wait before I can retrieve my things? Sorry, old-timer. Orders are orders. Nothing comes in or out till this case is over and done with. Commander White? And the headmaster, too? Oh, hello, Mr. Cuthbert. Hey, kid. Hey, pal. I mean, kid. Every single time Orm White addresses Tyrion, he says pal, and then one of Eris's glitches goes off and it turns into kid. In any case, there are other matters I must attend to. Please inform me when I can reclaim my things. Sure. Looks like Commander White is standing guard in front of this locker room, and it doesn't look like he's conducting any sort of investigation. Has he been busted down to guard duty? Is he on Steelwind's orders? He might be able to tell you who this secret witness is. What was the headmaster talking to you about? Supposedly, he had some items stored in one of the faculty lockers. The problem is, Steelwind said no one gets in or out of this room. Except for her, and you too, apparently. You won't even let the other knights in here. Really? Is that normal? Nope. But things rarely are when she's calling the shots. Why would she give you access to the crime scene if she wasn't even letting the knights in? With the exception of you and Celeste McCoy, Prosecutor Steelwind isn't allowing anyone inside key areas of the Academy. She isn't even allowing the Knights of the Inquisition within these areas. She appears to be conducting the investigation single-handedly. I don't know what her deal is, but she's been acting strange lately. She's been real paranoid, that girl. Frankly, I can't tell what's going on through her head. You mentioned that the prosecutor has been paranoid lately. Do you think it has something to do with the case? Started way before that. Lately, she's been using the Inquisition to investigate a lot of non-magical homicides.
What? Wouldn't it be easier to work with the relevant law enforcement for that?
I don't know why, but she's convinced these cases have magic involved. We scanned each and every one of those crime scenes. Nothing turned up. I got to say, though, more for these scans might actually agree with her.
Why do you say that?
These homicides. I haven't ever seen anything like them. They're probably some of the most screwed up cases I've ever handled, pal. One of those cases, we had ourselves a disgruntled spouse. She found out that her man was going around with a barkeep. I didn't know what the spouse does. She stalks the poor woman. He starts leaving threatening notes all around where she worked. The barkeep told the city watch all about what was happening. But no matter how much they staked out the tavern, they could never catch the perp. And one day, the barkeep arrived home. But little did she know, the spouse was still waiting for her there. The poor lady never had a chance. Then to tie the whole thing together, the spouse waits for her husband to get home. She cooks him a big roast, using the barkeep's remains.
No reaction. Tyrion doesn't say anything, Celeste doesn't say anything. They leave the reacting to us, and my reaction is, good God. Wow, that story is pretty...
I know. Steelwind thinks someone developed a new type of magic that can control people's minds. And these homicides were some kind of sick test run.
Oh no, Ouroboros is conducting more gospel tests. Magic that can control people's minds? Jane, wouldn't it be terrifying if there was a character who could just take any situation that was outside of their favor, just snap their fingers, create a glitchy backdrop, and all of a sudden the world just reforms around what's convenient for them? I mean, how mysterious. Mind control? I haven't seen anything like this in this game. It makes sense. Who do you think could have control of that? Some high-ranking villain that we haven't seen thus far in the story? But wouldn't Mage Blight make more sense? Mage Blight. When a mage overuses their magic, it can have pretty bad consequences on their mind. They temporarily lose grasp of reality and begin seeing things that aren't there. Ouroboros, quick, give me 16 ages of attitude. Mind control doesn't exist, I know. Very mysterious indeed. When a mage becomes like that, it almost never ends well. They enter a frenzy and begin firing spells randomly, which only makes it worse.
I've seen my fair share of Mage Blight cases, and this isn't like that. Not all the perps are mages, and the ones that were didn't even use their magic. One thing was, each of the perps almost seemed to wake up after we arrested them. All of them said things like, "It wasn't me," or "I didn't have a choice."
They didn't have a choice? What could that mean?
I doubt it means anything. Sometimes people can't face the things they've done. It's easier to say that you had no control than to take responsibility.
I wonder if you can mislead the commander in revealing who the secret witness is. During the trial, Ms. Steelwind mentioned that someone other than Jan Hughes saw Bellwether walking around. Have you seen them around lately? You want to speak with them?
Ah, nice try, kid.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. I don't think anyone other than Steelwind knows who this witness is. I sure as hell don't.
What? She's even hiding it from the Inquisition commander? Why is she being so secretive? Looks like the commander doesn't know who the secret witness is either. This isn't getting us anywhere. Steelwind's behavior is strange, though. Perhaps you could try analyzing her behavior. If you do that, you might be able to find a way to convince her to help you. Okay, Steelwind's behavior has been strange this time around. She is hiding elements of the case, even from the commander. Anyone can tell that she doesn't have much faith in him.
I'm, standing right here, pal. I'm standing right here, pal!
But this is the first time I've seen her hide key details of the case from him. What is motivating Steelwind to keep secrets? There has to be a reason why she's being so secretive. Arrogance, paranoia, logic, arrogance, paranoia. Her actions must be driven by paranoia. She's been hoarding information about the case. There's only one reason why she wouldn't utilize the Inquisition like she usually does. It's because she doesn't trust them.
I hate to say it, but that doesn't really surprise me. It's always been standoffish with us.
But there is one exception. Who has Steelwind trusted for this case? There are individuals who she's trusted more than the Inquisition during this case. Let's see, Commander White, Tyrion and Celeste, the Headmaster, Wallace, us. She let us investigate the crime scenes without any restrictions. Yeah, I never really thought about that. Does she trust us that much? I don't think personal trust is the reason. Why does Steelwind trust us this time? We don't usually interact with her. And she's worked with the Inquisition on plenty of cases that we weren't even involved in. Let's see, Steelwind, the Headmaster, Tyrion, Wallace. Tyrion, Wallace, Steelwind, the Headmaster. Isn't controlled by... Tyrion isn't controlled by the nobility? Wow! For the first time, I actually got that right in the first go. Steelwind doesn't know much about us, but she does know that we aren't prone to noble corruption. Right. You indicted a noble during the last case. Meanwhile, the Inquisition usually bends to the nobility's whims.
Well, I can't argue with you there.
What can you infer about the secret witness? She's worried about the witness's family. If she's worried about the corruption from the nobility, that can only mean one thing. The witness is a noble. The witness has to belong to a noble family. That's why she's so wary of interference. But we're obviously not going to do anything corrupt. Why is she hiding the witness's identity from us? You recall seeing a thought through the eye. Her family is dangerous. I think she's worried about our safety.
Yeah. I guess harassing a noble could put you in danger.
But I'm the protege of the infamous Ruby Tamora. Yeah, it's not as if we aren't already on the nobility's bad side. I'm sure the Pierce family still has it out for us. This can only mean that the family we're dealing with is even more powerful than House Pierce. If the prosecutor is wary of them, they could even be as powerful as the Steelwinds.
Wait, don't tell me you think we're dealing with one of the 4 pillars.
4 pillars?
It's a name people use for the top 4 noble houses. These families stand at the top of the king's aristocracy.
Yeah, we're better than Fire Emblem. We've got 4 houses.
If I recall correctly, the 4 pillars are House Frege, House von Sanctus, House Sybil, and House Steelwind. And you know that if anyone has a name with the word Von, if it's a 2-letter name, if it's a 2-word name with Von in the beginning, you have to be wary of them. Steelwind is a part of one of them?
Yeah, which makes it so much weirder that she's serving as a prosecutor.
The 4 pillars are the most powerful noble houses. Steelwind, Frege, von Sanctus, House Sybil. Von Sanctus just sounds like a villain name. What do you think Gaius Van Bells are? What is it?
Steelwind's weird behavior all started after she investigated this room. We were at the crime scene, and she left to follow a lead. An hour later, she came back to the lecture hall and booted everyone out.
Her behavior changed after investigating this room. That means that she found something here. And that something must point to a family from the 4 pillars. The commander looks a bit anxious.
You know, Steelwind's orders say I can't snoop around here. But you two, on the other hand...
Don't worry, just leave it to us.
I have some school records that say which locker belongs to which student. You can use it to tell whose locker you're looking at.
Damn!
Didn't know that White was so chill. Oh, there's an arcane construct in the back here. It's probably here to aid the students. That was the one that was disguised as Bellwether after she died. Three Houses actually has 5 houses, one of which is DLC. But I don't care, they got 3 houses in the title, we got 4 houses in the game. Check and mate. Anyways, I don't think that Arcane Construct is relevant to our investigation. What's the name on this gun? Anton Chekhov. Well, this is completely pointless. Perhaps you should make a small note of it anyways. There appears to be an inactive arcane construct in the Academy locker room. I'm gonna call that construct Anton now. Use the legend that the commander gave you. You look carefully across the list and find some notable student names. So we got Wallace Nightgrave, Miriam Frege, Juaden von Sanctus, Warden Sybil. You open Wallace's locker. Inside, you find a bottle of fragrant liquid and something that looks like a makeup kit. Huh. Didn't expect Wallace to use stuff like this. It does seem strange, but it's not your place to judge. My god. There are so many pictures of Calyx in here! I'm gonna make that joke every single time now. Anyways, you should try looking through the other lockers. Use the legend the commander gave you. Alright, what about Frege? A stack of worn-out textbooks and notebooks. Wait a minute. These notebooks all have Wallace's name on them. You open the notebook and look through its pages. Here's my research on the art of necromancy. Oh! That's, Eris did talk about how people kept on pranking Wallace by switching his name with other people. So, the first locker was actually Frege's, not Wallace's. These are Wallace's notebooks. But why are they in Miriam Frege's locker? Did Miriam steal his things? What's going on here? You and Celeste check the locker more thoroughly. Wait a minute. Tyrion, look at this! That's blood.
There's a stain of blood inside the locker with Miriam Frega's ID number. You used the legend that the commander gave you. Oh. So, yeah. Wallace and Miriam, their locker IDs were swapped. Because that was the prank that people pulled on them. Or maybe... Interesting that Eris's name isn't on here. I mean, she doesn't really have anything to do with this case, so we'd have to build a case before we can look in her locker. Jaden Vaughn... Oh, and we're traveling down the line of logic that one of the 4 major houses involved, one of the 4 pillars, and Eris isn't part of a 4-pillar. She goes higher. You open Jaden Von Sanctus's locker. Inside you find several bottles of some kind of transparent lotion. There's nothing but lotion in here. My god. Why is there so many lotion? Why is there so much lotion? Oh. I do wonder why a student would need this much lotion. You take one of the bottles to inspect it more closely. Wait, Tyrion, don't touch those with your hands! It's some kind of sanitizing liquid. It's a little strange, but it doesn't seem to be related to the case. What did you think it was, Celeste? Why would I consider such an upstanding citizen? Hey, I just thought that she was so divine that she would be considered at the same level as one of the 4 pillars. Of course she has nothing to do with this case. Inside, you find some textbooks and a neatly stacked deck of tarot cards. It's like those cards that fortune tellers use. I wonder if this student gives divination magic. But anyways, I don't think this is related to the case. You found a few things, but I can't really make any sense of it. We should look at this from the prosecutor's perspective. Steelwind found something in one of these lockers. Whose locker had the most suspicious evidence? And whatever that was, it made her extremely paranoid. It was Frega's. No matter how we look at it, we found some insanely suspicious things in Frega's locker. It had Wallace's notebooks and even some blood. But that blood is certainly strange. It implies that something bloody was stored there. Do you think someone stole it? No, actually. I think it was Steelwind who took it. Oh, right. Aura mentioned that she investigated this room. She must have taken the bloody item as evidence. With that said, there's something else that's strange about Miriam Frega's locker. It had a lot of Wallace's possessions. It's possible that she really did steal these items from him. But it's more likely that this locker isn't actually hers. Remember Wallace told us before? Sometimes the other students would steal the ID numbers off my locker. Then they'd switch it with the number of another locker. They thought it was funny whenever the student who owned that locker got angry with me. So someone switched the nameplates? This means that this isn't Miriam Frega's locker. It's Wallace's. But that would mean that the bloody object came from Wallace's locker. It appears so. There's a stain of blood inside the locker with Miriam Frega's ID number. The locker actually belongs to Wallace Nightgrave. Someone must have switched the ID numbers with Miriam's locker. But if that's true, why didn't Steelwind present the bloody item during the trial? I proved that Bellwether was wounded before Valerie healed her. Wouldn't that have been the perfect time to present what she found? Oh, it's that rapier that, yeah, it was the rapier that Steelwind confiscated. And I'm guessing that was Miriam Frega, who was protesting it being taken away. It was a bloody item found in the defendant's locker, after all. She could have easily proved that the nameplates were switched too. Right. That is weird. There's something more to this that you aren't seeing. But what? I think we'll have to ask Steelwind ourselves. Oh, I can't use detect magic. It is what it is. Alright, back to the library. Oh, you're back. We've uncovered a few things during our investigation. Ms. Steelman, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Fragum? I underestimated him. And also, oh no! I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff. It's not a bluff, Miss Steelwind. And I'll prove it using the evidence we've gathered. Oh, the psychological profile is complete! Let's argue! Steelwind is paranoid, and for whatever reason is due to the involvement of Miriam Fragum. I'll start an argument. You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Please tell me, why are you being so paranoid? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. Nothing about my behavior has changed. I have approached this case objectively, just like I have with every other case. Alright, what's your psychological profile? Extremely logical and won't accept arguments that aren't supported by evidence. However, she has become secretive lately, and her actions seem to stem from paranoia. She's uneasy about the case elements that relate to Miriam Fragum. She's very inclined to hide Fraga's involvement from the courts at all cost. Alright, nothing about it has changed, huh? Let's see. Where is evidence? Yeah. You've ordered the Knights to stay away from the crime scene. You've even taken it upon yourself to conduct this investigation yourself. That is not normal behavior for a prosecutor. I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything? The Knights are incompetent, but even you can see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you still delegated tasks to the Inquisition. You could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to take her out 1, 2, 3, like 5 times. Damn, Steelwind! More like Steel Cage for all of your secrets. Then why don't you enlighten me? Why would I act in such a way? What would cause me to behave so strangely? Let's see. Why would you act so strangely? Something having to do with Miriam Fragum. Oh. So, evidence in the locker. The 4 pillar families. So, something that might implicate Fragum. Let's see. So it's not evidence in the locker. I thought that was related to Frega, but it's not. Let's see, the 4 Pillars families. Is it the 4 Pillars families? Okay. Oh, I was too busy looking for mention of Frega, and I didn't try to think about that logically. You know that the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to the nobility. So what would happen if a powerful noble were publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A high-profile noble is involved in this case, Steelwind. And I believe that noble is Miriam Fragum. Oh, nope. That one took out a large chunk of her confidence. Again with this. Do you think you can bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrick Pierce. I've said it before and I'll say it again. My investigation doesn't involve the Fragas. Now can I present the evidence in the locker? Then how do you explain this, Steelwind? The commander told us that you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday.
We investigated the lockers of students from the Four Pillar families, and we found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Frega's ID number, and it was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object was taken by someone, and we heard that you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say that you took the bloody object as evidence. What evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims? What? The only thing you have is evidence of a blood stain. There's a myriad of explanations for that. Everything else you mentioned is pure speculation. You can't prove that piece of evidence exists. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. Let's see. You're hiding evidence, Miss Steelwind. Do you not see how wrong that is? Let's not be coy, Miss Steelwind. Anything that anyone can tell that bloodstain is the most notable thing in that room. If you don't present what you found in that court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. That's ridiculous. We both know that locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave. Can you unequivocally prove that, Miss Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Miss Frega onto the witness stand. But if I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that. Argument 1! Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I? You've successfully persuaded Arya Steelwind. Now, talk! Give me the truth! The whole truth! And nothing but the truth! Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility, but I'll admit that Miriam Frega was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day. I see. I had some suspicions, but there's also another matter. Steelwind looks uneasy. When I was investigating the body, I found this. Evidence of academic dishonesty. A tightly packed folder containing several documents. The documents contain evidence detailing multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of school officials, and other various offenses committed by Miriam Frega. What the? It looks like Miriam's been cheating at school. But why would Bellwether have something like this? From the way it's arranged, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frega is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She's won a litany of awards, and she will most definitely graduate with honors. If these files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. Do you think the professor was trying to threaten her? It appears so. When I discovered this, several elements of the case were still unknown. I decided to look through her belongings, and I mistakenly looked through the locker with her ID. I found this in that locker. Yep, a bloody rapier. Not doing the 5th trial earlier was a mistake on your part. Would saying so be spoilers? Or can you say in some uncertain ways? Can you be vague about it and beat around the bush to say why it was a mistake? It was found in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. Apparently, it's a valuable family heirloom to House Frega. It was reported stolen by Miriam Frega weeks before the murder. Interesting. It's very likely that this is the murder weapon. This rapier is a valuable family heirloom
for House Frege. And a few weeks ago, Miriam reported that the rapier was stolen from her room, and then it was found in Wallace's locker. Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court? To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frege by any means necessary. I knew it! You're just protecting her, aren't you? Ms. McCoy, do you recall how Wyvern Guard's justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need to unequivocally prove they didn't commit the crime. To do that, they either need a solid alibi, or we need to prove that someone else committed the crime. What do you suppose will happen if you bring Miriam Frege onto the stand? House Frege won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant. And they'll use the Inquisition to do so. So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation. Can't you do anything? Really, I thought you and Miriam Frege were lovers. What? What? The Steelwinds are powerful too, aren't they? I don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor. Nothing more. Steelwind, you know that this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and let us win. Celeste, if we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? Explain! What if Miriam Frege is the real killer? Her sword is the murder weapon, and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. As a prosecutor, it's not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption, even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. The aftermath of the fourth trial has things happen that make the end of the meta plot kinda obvious. As the saying goes, the devil's in the details, and the details are hella. So then why do you regret it then? Where does the regret come in? Does that impact your rewatch? Arya is sorry. Do you know where Miriam is right now? Didn't you hear what I just said? You can't let her think there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frege down on you. Regardless, I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that happened. Frege has the last piece I need to put everything together. Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory room is 107. I imagine that she'll be there, considering that classes are suspended. Thank you, Steelwind. If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably find out using some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, be careful. You got to the fourth trial, saw the reveal, and went, ugh, this kills your desire to see this through? Wait, what? Something happens in the fourth trial that makes you not want to continue? Literally, the reveal made you not want to keep moving? I think that it's been a wild ride so far. Is it a bad reveal that ruins things? Or am I reading that wrong? Oh, the game plays a hand too fast, I see. Anyways, on to dorm room 107. Well, schmancy, innit? You follow Ms. Steelwind's directions and find Miriam Frega's dorm room. The door leading inside seems a lot more ornately decorated than the other dorms. You go to knock on the door, but you don't realize that it's only partially closed. As your fist comes into contact with the wood, you accidentally push the door wide open. Oh my! The big plot twist comes early. Or maybe the big plot twist is setting you up for the rest of the game. Excuse me? How dare you barge into my room? These insects have no respect! Sorry, I meant to knock, but... Construct! Remove these hoodlums from my room! Acknowledged. From the corner of the room, an arcane construct stands up and starts making its way towards you. Before you can protest, it raises its fist to hit you. Uh-oh. You only have enough time to raise your arms and brace yourself for the impact. You close your eyes and wait for the blow. But instead, you hear the clang of steel against steel. Confused, you open your eyes and see Celeste standing between you and the construct. Her sword is drawn and she's using it to block the construct's fists. Nani? Oh, it spells out something that's core to the fifth trial. Do you know that for a fact, or maybe you're getting led on to something even bigger later? Well, we'll have to see when I come around to it. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the student stares curiously at her. Construct, stand down. Acknowledged. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this was your servant. Celeste looks angry, but puts away her sword without a word. I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If she has a personal attendant, she must be important. What? You see an opportunity? Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste gives you a puzzled look, but you make a silent gesture back. After a moment, she seems to realize what you're doing. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frega? Yes, I'm honored that you recognize me. Miriam Frega, she is a student. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss. I'm Celeste. Celeste Steelwind. I'm Celeste Steelwind. You can't believe her. There's no way she's going to believe Steelwind? It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. She must be from a branch family. Maybe I can use her. Wait, she's actually buying this? I just moved in, and I thought that I should introduce myself. Seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjugation. Conjuration? Yes. Well, there's no backing out now. Miss Frega, I was wondering if you could ask you some questions about...
Excuse me? I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak.
Oh, here we go. Celeste is still smiling, but you can faintly hear her grinding her teeth together. So, we heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I can't believe it.
Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She has always been an acquaintance of House Frega.
She appears to be more receptive to Celeste. Might be better to let her take the lead on the questioning. We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened?
Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? She's not like Adia, is she? She's not like Adia, is she?
Oh, you know. I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes. Being a noble and all. Alright, tone it down.
Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going to sound the same path as that poor confused Aria.
What does she mean by that?
But I'm in the middle of a study break anyways. I suppose I have some time to sate your curiosity. Construct, please prepare us some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. She could be useful if I can win her favor.
Acknowledged.
Lotus tea? You have lotus juice?
You feel like you're slowly losing control of this situation. I heard that you saw the professor on the day of the murder. Where did this happen?
I was in the hallways when I heard her coming out of the headmaster's office. She was headed towards the library.
Do you remember what time this happened?
I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes I'll let entire hours pass by without noticing.
Do you have a rough idea, at least?
I think it was in the morning.
She thinks it was in the morning? But anyways, did anything seem off about her?
No, it was a short encounter. I merely greeted her, and she responded in kind. Or at least, that's what should have happened.
I thought just now, what does it mean? You slowly glance at Celeste and catch her attention. In small motions, you shake your head to indicate that Miriam is holding something back. Were you and the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean towards the other students.
Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not to students like us. She was a great ally to House Frega, or at least she used to be. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster.
Wait, what did you just say? Well, there you go. I remember someone in chat was, oh no. Someone in chat or in the comments was saying that this was a power play to replace the headmaster. Or I think it was spelled out in the game, and somewhere someone was implying this, and now it's all out in the open. Did you say that your family was going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster?
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frega holds several seats on the Academy's board. We were making plans to have replaced that lout, Redmond.
They were going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this?
Oh, of course not. This is part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we were going to replace all the staff members with arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left prematurely. And where would that leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal that plan? Or was Jan lying about how he found out? But alas! With Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans.
Did I tug on the camera? I think I did.
House Frege was planning to fire Headmaster Theodore Redmond and replace him with Catherine Bellwether. They were also planning to fire all the Academy staff and replace them with arcane constructs. This was supposed to be kept a secret, but according to Jan, Bellwether revealed this plan to the Headmaster during a meeting a few weeks ago. So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as evidence for the case. Boy, really just laying things out in the open. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon. How did it even become a part of the investigation anyways? I don't know. Arya won't tell me anything. I swear, if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself. So, someone did steal it from you? Yes, from right out of my room. When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Someone removed the rapier from its display case in my room. Even. How did they get into your room in the first place? Do you think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Oh, please. I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. This means the thief came through one of the doors or windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him knows just how to pick a lock. Oh dear. I know how to pick a lock, and I'm a street urchin. Well, was a street urchin, and she was adopted. But she doesn't. I think she just doesn't like how she's treating Wallace. Also, I have heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course, as an inheritor of House Frege, my grades are impeccable. It feels good to have my greatness recognized. That's strange. You don't see anything contradictory through the eye this time. You make a gesture towards Celeste and continue pressing her. Oh, what kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjuration. Just like most members of my house. The School of Conjuration? That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation and teleportation, right? Yes, I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why, the Crown Prince himself has asked for my assistance in a research study. It's nice to work with someone of my caliber. Again, you don't see any thoughts that contradict what she's saying. Does that mean she's not lying? If she's smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, then why would she be cheating? You said something about my wayward relative before. You were talking about Arya. Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you, but I'm sure it must pain you to see the way she's been acting lately.
Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste.
Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A steelwind running around the crime scene like a common knight. Why, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. Oh, I'm so angry.
Does the nobility not approve of Steelwind becoming a prosecutor? You always thought that it was strange. What is motivating her to do this?
Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because of a betrothed. Asta deserves better.
Well, she's taken, boys and girls and everything in between. Celeste's eyes perk up upon hearing this. You'd be lying if you weren't also curious about who this Aster is. But you share a stern look that tells her to stay focused. You can't risk blowing your cover for some gossip. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they only had them in the library and the locker room.
This construct was a gift from House von Sanctus. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around.
They look really cool. Maybe I should get one.
You should. A construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours.
Uh-oh. Celeste is really about to throw hands.
Unfortunately, there are some issues with their intelligence.
Their intelligence?
There are issues when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you.
Oh. Miriam turns to the construct and begins gesturing toward it.
Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then, cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out at this table.
Acknowledged. What? The construct stands up and retrieves Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves in the room. It brings them to the table you're sitting at, just like she ordered. But then, it suddenly stops moving. Wait, what happened?
The construct obviously can't cast Steelwind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else?
It ignored your third command too.
Correct. My third command was possible to carry out.
So why did it ignore that command?
Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they are given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether.
So if a task in a series of commands is impossible, that command will interrupt the sequence of commands.
Exactly.
Construct's logic limitation. Arcane constructs process tasks in the order they are given. If a construct is ordered to complete tasks A, B, and C, it will process each of those tasks individually. If task B is impossible, the construct won't realize this until it reaches task B. When it reaches task B, it will deem the entire series of commands impossible and stop what it's doing without even attempting to complete task C. Reasonable. Lady Steelwind, I am afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant.
Oh, leaving already? It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, sure.
I hope to see you around. You make your way back to the foyer with Celeste. With all the time you spent, you only have a brief amount of time before night falls. Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We were getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse. Right. So, why Steelwind? I don't know. I panicked. Arya's like the only noble I know. What about Pierce? I'm not using that creep's name. Well, hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. There's also what she had said about her rapier. I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably trying to establish an alibi. I'm not so sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, that would imply that she planned all of this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her name on it? I'd understand if the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision. She might have just used something nearby in that case. But if this was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that rapier would be the last weapon she would choose. Right. I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You mean all that stuff about working with the Crown Prince? She was probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under normal circumstances, I can usually tell when someone is lying, and a lie as grandiose as that would be something I would definitely see through. People can subconsciously shield themselves from the Eye of Horus, even if they don't know about it. But when they do that, you usually can't see any thoughts from them. You also saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. You would have seen dissonant thoughts if she was lying about her grades. Well, I guess I'll trust your insight. But what does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we've found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should still try to pull Miriam onto the stand. And what? Have her reveal that you lied to her? Wouldn't that be considered perjury? If she testifies in court, I might be able to find something I can use. Well, that's a big maybe. If you don't play your cards right, you might spook the Fregas enough for them to pay off the judge. Either way, it's getting late. We'll probably have to turn in soon. Yeah. You just hope you did enough to acquit Wallace. Alright, time for court, time for court. Which means it is time for us to split here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me in this leg of the journey. We are well past reset time, and I have a feeling that doing the court sequence is going to take us way too far past our bedtime. You are very welcome to the stream. Glad you all had a great time. So, thank you for joining me. So, Lars James, Moderate Katome, AQ, Matthew. And thank you if you're watching the stream as a VOD. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, join the Discord. It is in the description. It'll let you know when the next stream comes up. We will reconvene on Monday. I don't know if this is going to close out the case, or if there's still more to go, but I mentioned this before. Next week, in the coming week, I am going on vacation to Japan, and it is going to be a lengthy one.
The last vacation I went on was for a weekend. This one is going to be for 2 weeks. I'm going on a guided tour through Japan. So I'll see if I can close out episode 2, and then we'll just have to wait. And then we'll just have to wait and see about continuing after that. So just giving you this heads up ahead of time, so that it doesn't come as a complete surprise. But yeah, hopefully I can close out episode 2 before I leave, because I am leaving later in the week, and I want to use all of my time as it gets closer for packing and tidying up and making sure that I have every I dotted and every T crossed. So I probably will not stream Wednesday, because I'll be too busy doing my preparations. But that is for then. This is now, and the next stream will be on Monday, where we will now go into court for the second time to see if we can acquit Wallace. Do we have enough evidence to implicate the real killer? Usually, we will know who the real killer is before the court case, before the final trial segment, and the real challenge will be into how do we implicate them. And we don't know who, and we don't have a firm finger on who it is. So I think we'll go to court, we'll do another investigation, and then we'll have the final court scene. But that is for then. This for now. We have courtroom segment number 2 coming up. Hopefully, bad things won't happen. But hey, it is a court scene. Bad things will happen. Good things will happen. Funny things will happen. And maybe there will be a little bit of fan service. Who knows? That's a deep Evangelion cut. I just wanted to say something funny. Anyways, court scene 2 next time. Until then, game out.